In terms of the carrier consolidation, which we started to see in some markets, and generally, what do you think the changing nature of your customer base will sort of see in the next 5 years, as we're talking about?
Well, I think there's, obviously the carrier customer continues to be an important piece of our business, but one thing people don't realize is most carriers, the big ones, have already become IT companies. Years ago, they were struggling with this idea of what happens if we're just a dumb pipe. What if there's no value in other than moving transmission across the network? And so many of them have built data centers, they've built IT systems. They're not nearly where they need to be yet, but they've made that transformation. So when we go and talk to them about our ICT vision, they're very excited because they see this as if they can provide a component to this ICT ecosystem that actually is complementary to what's going on in the enterprise and the consumer space, it opens up new customer opportunity to them. The new customer segment for us is the enterprise customer. We haven't had a lot of global dialogue with them, and so we're trying our best to introduce ourselves. And what's very interesting, one of the points I made at Interop was there has not been a new vendor entering the enterprise communication market in almost a decade. The last major ones were back in the early 2000s with people like VMware and Juniper entering the enterprise space, and 3Com Huawei, ironically, coming into existence.
It's a pretty tired sector in many respects.
Yeah, well, you have a market that literally has grown 3- or 4-fold in terms of size. It's an enormous tens or hundreds of billions of dollars potentially of addressable revenue, and the actual vendor numbers have dropped to a fragment of what they were. So this idea of Huawei, this massive company actually entering the market, makes for a very exciting dynamic that suddenly there's a new player. And we hope that will excite the customers and actually bring big opportunity for us, but we do know that it will be a great opportunity for the whole industry, because even if you don't want us to be there, the fact of the matter is we are there, and it will force people who have maybe become a little bit complacent to start innovating again, and that's very good for the customer and the market segment, because if you compare the amount of innovation going on in the enterprise versus what's been going on over the last decade in the consumer world, it's just completely different. Consumer has been massive competition, massive new entrants, Google, Amazon, eBay, all of these companies, and it's been exciting. Where the enterprise world has, quite frankly, been a fast-growing market, but very few competitors, and that does not breed a high degree of innovation. And the result of that dynamic has been what we call the consumerization of IT, where whether we want it or not, much of that consumer innovation is coming back into the enterprise without the permission of the IT professional.
This is employees who demand it, effectively.
Absolutely. They say, I have this great experience at home. Why shouldn't I have it at work? You're not going to give it to me. I'm going to find a way to bring it in. And in the ICT world, we say, well, that's fine, but let's figure out how to manage it. Let's figure out how to think of all of that consumer technology as tools and systems that can be used constructively in the enterprise. Very different paradigm, going to take a while for us to transition as an industry and as IT professionals, but very exciting if we think about it.